All right, here it is. I know this is what everybody wants to know because so many people have made comments about it. So, just so that you guys can move on with life, I am going to give you this information about 47. All right. Okay. So, you guys know who that is. This is an astronumerology reading, not completely detailed, but I'm going to say if ever there was a time that a person's birth chart lined up with their life, this is the time. Crazy. To the point of somebody were to say, oh, is he in those files? I would be like, yeah. Did he do this? Yeah. Because the energy is there. Does he think he's a king? Yes. So let's get started. Here he is, born June 14th, 1946. His life path is a 31-4. This is important that it's a 31-4 and not a 13-4, which is a karmic number. And this is from astronumerology because depending on how you break the numbers down, there are some numerology systems that break the month, the day, and the year down and then add those individual numbers together. If you do that, he would come up as a 13-4, which is a karmic number. But if you add all the numbers together, he comes up as a 31-4, which is different. 31-4 says that he is interested in building and communicating everything for the self, for himself. A 13-4 says he's going to have rise and falls because of his inability to consistently work hard towards a goal. And the 4 itself deals with the home and real estate. So he has rise and falls in real estate. So part of that, yes, we can see that energy with him just from history. But this fun loving, joy, communicating everything for the self is showing up more in all of his actions, including his real estate transactions. Okay. So a person with a 4 as a life path is here to build something, to create something, and they are seeking to put a foundation. In his case, the foundation is self-serving. There's so that's what the numbers are, right? His attitude is an 11-2. And 11-2, 11 on the high vibration is a master number. The low vibration is not so much. It is about relationships and partnerships, but on the high vibration is about teaching and educating and bringing people together. On a lower vibration, it is about relationships that serve the purpose, and also a person who becomes needy, that they need for your relationship to focus on them more than the side of them focusing with you and partnering to where both parties go up. It becomes a one-sided thing. Kind of important. He's born in Queens, New York. They actually have a time listed at 7 a.m. Okay. A couple other things. Now, I'm not going to give 100% of the things because I don't want someone coming back saying I was the person who's whatever, yeah, you know. But you can't fire me from me, right? This is, can't fire me from me, you know. But anyway, so some key things, and this is a sensitive kind of area. Key things in his birth chart include the fact that there's an eclipse between the sun and the moon, right? So his moon is eclipsed by the sun. The moon represents the mind and heavily influenced by some things that his father may have said to him. And I looked up this thing that his father told him that he was a king and to win at all costs. But also, his way of thinking is not in line with how other people who are considered rational would think. He has the thought that he has to grab everything for himself and that other people are against him. And he is actually intuitive on some level. So he knows that some people don't like him or are against him or not for him. He knows that. And he is aware that most people don't like him. So he's proactively warring against them to be like, I don't care. I want my way. And since I know you don't like me anyway, I'm going to do this to get my way. Anyway, the other thing is that, and that's something I wanted to point out that's in his chart. Another thing is that for my astrology, he has the Cancer energy as his rising, rises towards Cancer, which is also a home domesticated energy. But Cancer itself is a moody type energy, kind of like the child who requires attention from the mother, requiring attention and always attention seeking, but also a very intuitive sign. So knows things, okay? Knows. But the problem is when you have the eclipse, your intuition can be influenced by the delusional things that take place, your like delusions of grandeur. Let's say that, okay? Um, his sun is actually in Aquarius and with Rahu in retrograde, which means that his approach is always explosive, always secretive, always, I want all of these things. Aquarius itself is about building a tribe, and it is about inventing and like the computer, the internet, all those kinds of things, like new things and things that supposedly move something forward, move you to the next level. So it's like the computer's supposed to, take you out of the 20th century or take you out of the 19th century, things that move you forward. So his approach is to move forward, but it's always in a secretive, explosive type way. So on one side appears as a friend and it's really an enemy. That's the energy that's there. Okay. So keep that in mind. And then I'm not going to go through some of the other things. Yes, I created my own chart reading because I think it is important. I'm not going to go into some of the other pieces of it. I'm going to do what I did for some of the other ones. The two things that are key for how people view him and the question that everybody wants to know. And one is the money, and the other one is the death doula. Okay. So on the money side, how does he make his money? And the interesting thing is, everything about how he has made his money is in this section. One, starting with antagonistic, warring with people, seeing the sun energy, the king energy, and the color orange. Making his money in magnificent buildings, government buildings, using discernment, communicating with others by punishment or threats to achieve his all or nothing goal. Next thing that's in there, military action, competitive, secrets and plots and scandals, prone to violence, not above blackmail, and places focusing on beauty geared towards men and hidden items, buying and selling property, truths and untruths in the speech. So by the words that are spoken, seeing whatever is necessary in order to get the deal done. Also, some hidden money is made in retreats, slums, inaccessible places, filled with secrets, unethical negotiations with a private club entertainment and big venues. He also has the making money through beauty, and that's could be the beauty pageants that he was involved in. And he has a thing in his chart about selling of beautiful things. I'm gonna let you fill in the blanks. Okay. A lot. Oh, and he has the inheritance that receiving money by inheritance. And I looked up the fact that because of his father and his father giving his children money, all of the kids were millionaires by the time they were like 8 years old or so, because the father gave them a certain amount of money before they ever did anything. And then I also looked at he went to military school, um, and but never wanted to do the war part of it. It said those energies are there in the chart. The Venus energy, which is associated with beautiful things, comes up quite often in his chart. He has the secret energies on both sides, meaning what he shows and presents in business versus what the truth actually is. Um, Always ends in a big catastrophe. And that's probably associated with, and it's associated, the catastrophe is associated in the actual money side of the business side of it, which can definitely represent all of the multiple bankruptcies. Because on the outside, the information that was presented was we're successful, and in reality, those businesses were going belly up. Right? That's the because it's in the money position, the eighth house, and the associated with power and money and sex and death and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let's say that. Um, Next, the question that everybody wants to know: when's it going to happen? When is somebody going to do this? When is somebody going to do that? Well, his death doula area does not show someone taking him out. It actually shows him leaving, departing, transitioning by way of heart attack, organ failure, or mental decline in a government building or a kingdom or what he considers to be his palace. Shows he has issues with the head. He could also be in a military installation. His thing is going to occur with the chest area. So more than likely, heart attack. And then he has a problem with weak bones with his legs, his spine, and his organs outside of his heart. So he does have organ issues. I also went one step further and looked at his actual dashas. And I didn't, not to give you an exact date of when, but it is beyond 6 years from now in the dashas. So for those of you who are just waiting for this to happen so everything can turn back around, there's nothing in the current energy that I saw that would say that this was going to happen this year, next year, and that all these people who are predicting and saying that, I don't see it in the chart anywhere. So my advice to you is to move past that. Okay. Stop focusing on that as when that happens, life would be better. That is not showing up. It's going to have some scares. That is showing up. Some close calls are showing up. But the actual time of the transition is not what I saw. Okay. And some falls. He has some falls coming up. So he's gonna. So anyway, all right. That's the information I have. Can we all move forward now?